Pat Garrett was born on June 5, 1850, in Chambers County, Alabama. He grew up in Louisiana, where his family farmed until the Civil War left them in ruins. By the time he was 19, Garrett struck out on his own, drifting west into Texas. There he worked as a cowboy on cattle drives. And later, as a buffalo hunter on the open plains. Tall, rugged, and a skilled marksman, Garrett quickly earned a reputation. But in 1875, after a deadly quarrel that ended with him killing his partner in self-defense,
I shot that buffalo.
No, I shot it.
the life of buffalo hunting came to an end.
I shot that buffalo.
No, I shot it, you jackass!
You always were a slow learner. You always were a greedy fool.
Ah! And you're a dead one!
So he moved further west, into New Mexico territory. In early 1879, he marries Juanita Martinez, first wife. She dies the same year from complications of a miscarriage.
Get him in there! Move, you devils!
Pat Garrett even gave hog raising a try. But the business turned on him fast. A charging sow left him broken in the dirt, his ribs bruised and his pride wounded. Laid up in bed after the hog accident. That was when Pat Garrett first found the woman who would become his second wife.
You always did have a soft spot for strays, Apollonia.
Maybe getting hurt was the Lord's way of putting us together.
By the late 1870s, Garrett was a familiar figure in Fort Sumner, a gambler.
Cards don't lie, boys, but men do. Question is, who's bluffing tonight?
A saloon operator, and a cowboy.
I've been cheated!
Cheating. The only thing I see cheating you is your own bad luck.
In the spring of 1879, he married Apollonia Gutierrez, a young woman of Fort Sumner.
I, Pat, take thee, Apollonia, to be my wedded wife.
I take you, Pat, to be my husband.
Garrett was elected November 2nd, 1880, but Sheriff George Kimbrell deputized him immediately so he could start acting before his January swearing-in. His first act was to organize a posse to hunt down Billy the Kid and his gang, who were rustling cattle and hiding out around Fort Sumner. The very first thing Garrett did as sheriff was launch a manhunt for Billy the Kid, and within 6 weeks he had Billy in irons. Garrett built a small spy network relying on Juan.
Tell me where Billy is, Juan. You know where he's hiding.
From Juan, he learned that Billy and his gang planned to ride into Fort Sumner, so Garrett arranged an ambush. He stationed his posse inside an old hospital building at the edge of the plaza, watching the darkened streets.
Pat.
Out of the shadows
Something's coming.
rode Charlie Folliard and Tom Pickett, with Billy and the others trailing close behind. When Folliard's horse drew near, Garrett stepped forward and called out, "Halt!" Folliard's hand flashed toward his pistol. Garrett fired first. The bullet struck true. Folliard reeled in the saddle, spurred his horse a short distance, then collapsed in agony nearly 150 yards away. Garrett's men rushed to him, carrying the wounded outlaw inside. Garrett shook his head and told him coldly to take his medicine.
Touch me, Pat. Stop the pain.
Take your medicine.
Less than an hour later, Folliard was dead, but not before asking Mason to write to his grandmother in Texas with word of his fate. 4 days later, Garrett and his posse rode through the bitter December wind, heading north towards Stinking Springs, where fate and Billy the Kid awaited.
Keep pace! The wind's picking up, Sheriff.
In December 1880, New Mexico Governor Lew Wallace issued a $500 reward for the capture of Billy the Kid, and the official authorization was signed on December 13th, 1880. The regulators bunkered down at Stinking Springs, never suspecting Garrett's posse was closing in.
Boundary. Looks clear enough. Go tend to the horses.
Three months later, Pat Garrett purchased the Wortley Hotel in Lincoln, New Mexico on March 28, 1881, for $900 from its owner at the time, James H. Wheaton. The irony? He still hadn't received the $500 reward for Billy. July 14, 1881. In the darkness of Pete Maxwell's house at Fort Sumner, Sheriff Pat Garrett fired the shot that ended Billy's kid's life. A month after Billy's death, Garrett sold the Wortley Hotel for just $275, a loss of $625 in only 4 months. Perhaps pushed not by money, but by whispers that the killing had been coward's work, he left Lincoln for Texas, and with Ash Upson's pen tried to clear his name in print.
Well now, ain't this just the most authentic load of hogwash I ever did see? Authentic, he says. Well, I reckon Pat Garrett wouldn't know authentic if it bit him on the backside. Guess that's one story you won't get to finish, Pat.
What caused the Lincoln County War?
Well, that's a tough one. I'd say it was a culmination of land disputes.
What caused the Lincoln County War?
I killed Billy, didn't I? I'm sure I did. Garrett killed me? Do you really think so?
Go on, hit that button before I get twitchy. You subscribed yet? I ain't got all day.
Hi, I'm Billy, Billy the Kid. If you ever wanted to know about the history of White Oaks, New Mexico, I've got you covered. The site is whiteoaksnewmexicogoldrush.com.